if we see this year with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit across West African nations, no doubt West Africa has come into the news. Critically examine India's current Africa strategy in the context of three aspects. So, all those three aspects have to be analyzed from their strengths and weaknesses. In the last 10 years, if there is one topic which has constantly emerged in current affairs, and before every mains examination, you would see each and every topper having a one-pager note, is this particular topic, India, Africa. Now, if we look at the questions that have been asked by UPSC in the mains, you will see it has varied across the natural resource potential of Africa, increasing interest of India in Africa, and what are the pros and cons of India's engagement with Africa. And if the last decade of was Asia's growth story, the next few are to be Africa's. Again, you must be aware of what are the richness of Africa as a continent as a whole. During the preparation, the prime mistake which we all make, even in a topic like India and Africa, where we are very sure of the questions that are to be asked, is that we read it in silos. Like if we see this year with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit across West African nations, no doubt West Africa has come into the news. By that logic, अभी तक आपने इंडिया, नाइजीरिया, बाकी जो वेस्ट अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज है, व्हाट इज इंडियाज गोल इन वेस्ट अफ्रीका, you would have read each and every aspect of it and memorized the measures as well. But coming back to the questions which UPSC has been asking with respect to Africa, if you see, it is never concentrated in a particular region, whereas our study constantly focuses upon a particular region or country because that part was in news. Now let us imagine a scenario where we are being asked this question in this year's news. Critically examine India's current Africa strategy in the context of geopolitical competition, economic interests, and developmental cooperation. This is clearly a logical question which has emerged from this past 2 months current affairs. And this was more so asked in the Samachar Manthan tests. If you see what students wrote here, this was one type of answer where they focused on strategic objectives of India in Africa and the challenges of India in its engagement with Africa. This was primarily because the question asked critical exam. But if you delineate the question further, some students wrote slightly better answers where they focused upon the three dimensions which were asked in the questions. If you see in this particular answer, geopolitical domination, developmental cooperation, and economic engagement has been addressed separately. Still, this does not make up for the best answer. In my view, if you look at answer type 3 now, which is on screen, you will see this person has not only looked after each and every aspects, that is geopolitical competition, economic engagement, and the other aspect which was asked in the question, but along with that, he or she has also analyzed the strengths and weaknesses of each and every aspect. If you zoom in on the question here, you will find the question was asking exactly this. Critically examine India's current Africa strategy in the context of three aspects. So, all those three aspects have to be analyzed from their strengths and weaknesses. In short, if I summarize this entire thing, the body of your answer should look something like this. Geopolitical competition, strengths and weaknesses, economic interest, strengths and weaknesses, developmental cooperation, strengths and weaknesses. That means your body should have 6 parts in total. Now, my point of concern for all the aspirants is from the time when the news appears in the newspaper till the time you are able to handle each and every question related to that news. That is what your current affairs preparation should entail. Along with that, the news should be able to be summarized in one particular page so that you are able to revise it. Now, how did we handle this at Samachar Manthan? If you look, if you take Africa whole as a region, now each region has its own key resources, and India's strategic focus in any particular region of Africa has been analogous to the strengths of that region. And each and every region of Africa again presents us with several key challenges. So, as long as you are not reading the entire African continent from this aspect, a holistic aspect, every time a news comes from Africa, just like I showed you, a news came from West Africa, but we delved into the entire African region and all the critical aspects, then you are missing out a lot in your current affairs preparation and strategy. This is exactly what we are going to do in tomorrow's class or the immersion webinar, where I'll be taking a few topics from last week directly from the newspaper and present you the bigger picture so that those topics you are not fumbling upon when the questions are a bit indirect in your UPSC mains. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Thank you.